Hello, guys, and welcome to my Thursday night football Seahawks visiting the Cardinals prediction. I am kind of looking at this game through the lens of short week, obviously, with it being Thursday night. The Seahawks coming off a reeling win, yes, against the Saints, but they put up a ton of points, which just is never free in the NFL. And then the Cardinals, who, yeah, they in all honesty should have won against the Niners Sunday, but they just Zay Jones with a crappy drop. He's hurt now. I don't like to say that that's a good thing, but the dude dropped a very obvious catch where I'm like, the dude pulled it in, and then as he's going to the ground is when he drops it. Like, it's inexcusable, especially for a vet like himself. And it's like, and I thought to myself, like, maybe this is why this dude is a journeyman, and that sort of thing. But looking at this game, obviously the other thing that's going to play a huge role to me is that James Conner obviously is now on IR. He cannot play, type of thing. One of your corners is hurt, has been hurt. Zay Jones, I guess, like I said, is he's questionable. I feel like he plays unless he has to pass concussion protocol. I don't know why they list him as questionable then. But it's like the Seahawks, they've been kind of doing it without these guys. I expect Boy Mafe to play. I expect Love to play. That sort of thing. Leonard Williams, I expect to play, who's been playing out of his mind, even though his grade isn't the best, but it's like you also think of the Seahawks, and I know these teams don't look ahead and that sort of thing. But like the Cardinals, if we're being real, they don't have it easy. The Titans, are probably the easiest team they're playing in the next few weeks, but then you have the Colts, the Packers. You could argue they might be able to beat the Cowboys, but at this point, CD might be back. But it's like otherwise, it's kind of looking, tough for the Cardinals. The Seahawks, they win this one, I'm pretty sure. The Buccaneers are their hardest game of the next four, undisputably, I think. And then they have Jaguars, whom I think they should beat. And then they have Texans, who they will beat. Commanders, we'll see where they're at. This should be a fun game. But overall, to me, looking at the Cardinals and that sort of thing, just overall, who knows that much about Benson? We'll get to, see a good look at him, obviously. Marvin Harrison Jr. not playing well. Zay Jones, like I said, game-wrecking drop. And then Cedric Wilson. It is Cedric Wilson, or Michael Wilson, I'm sorry. But it's like, overall, to me, it's like McBride and Harrison need to carry this team now. And overall, they really haven't had that crazy of an O-line this year, as Murray has had to drop back and perform his magic, and he's playing well. But he needs help. He needs guys that can catch the ball. And he can't just do it with only Trey McBride, as much as I like McBride, type of thing. The Seahawks, Williams, Murphy, Mafe, Witherspoon, Joby. Rick Woolen hasn't been playing the best. He's had some good plays. But it's like overall, this to me, obviously, Knight, a rookie this year, that is learning how to play very good defense and that sort of thing. But, looking at this, looking at the Seahawks offense, here is what I think is, kind of promising. JSN obviously cooking. He cooked at the end of last year. He's just, I don't know, he's a proven player at this point as far as I'm concerned. Has done well on an offense that hasn't always produced, but he produces. Cooper Kupp, I think, not a bad guy to have if he gets open, is going to catch the ball. And Torrey Horton really having an emergence last week, where I think that, hey, they really need, that kind of a wide receiver too. And, I mean, you could say that's Cup, but I think that Torrey Horton could really develop into a guy who could do deep, go deep, and I mean, JSN can do that as well, but you can really kind of have a mixed blend of, route running with, route running as well as, going deep and, getting past guys. I do like Barner. He hasn't really had crazy production type of thing, but he's very good. And I just wish that they would get Kenneth Walker going despite him having a high grade, because he hasn't had crazy good numbers. But, looking at the defense for... Looking at the defense for Arizona, obviously Calais Campbell has been having a very good impact. And he's just the ageless guy who never seems like he's going to retire. He's 38 years old or whatever it is. And then even Sweat has been doing very, very good for them type of thing. These guys are the anchors of this defensive front, but then it's like you look at kind of DBs, and they were able to get diced up by Mac Jones, and Darnold just came off a huge game, a breaking out game where, he looked very, very good. Granted, Baker's a very good safety, can do it all, play the run, play the pass. I wouldn't be thrown anywhere near him if I was Darnold, if I'm being honest with you. But then it's like, linebacker room, I just think that there's a lot to be desired over how the Cardinals played and that sort of thing. And it's, like I said, Harrison Smith, McBride, these two have to carry the offense now. They don't have James Conner, and unless Benson, pops off, type of thing, then I just don't really, see it. And I mean, don't get me wrong, he is kind of a similar to Conner where he's a pound it back, but James Conner he's got that where he takes the right angles on his runs, and, it helps to protect Kyler and make it easier when they have short yardage situations, which they will probably miss. My prediction for this game, because I think the Cardinals they're really going to suffer, not only in the pass game, but in the rushing game. I think that this could be a breakout game where it's like the Seahawks look to silence the crowd because it's in Arizona. I think that they really do need to break out one of their running backs with more than just a high PFF grade. So I'm taking the Seahawks because, in all honesty, watching the end of that Cardinals game, I was kind of sick to my stomach. I really wanted to see the Niners lose, you guys, as a Packers fan. But looking at this game, I expect the Seahawks to be able to win. I don't think the Cardinals are going to be able to keep up with them in points. Even if the Seahawks stutter from last week, which I kind of expect a little bit, because, they were playing a team that, isn't very good, but the Cardinals, I kind of expect them to really feel the loss of Connor, which I just think is, such a heavy blow on a offense that, isn't very proven, and they need to be able to run it because their O-line hasn't been playing that well. And it's not an excuse to say, well, Kyler, he gets away, he's very squirrely. Don't get me wrong, he is, but the dude shouldn't have to play hero ball, so much. So it's like, I'm taking the Seahawks. I think that they're going to be able to, do some good things and get after Kyler, and then they're going to be able to stop the run very effectively, making it so that the Cardinals aren't going to be able to score a lot of points, and it's going to put Darnold in position to really control this game. So my final score prediction that I'm going to do for this game is I'm going to say Seahawks 34, Cardinals 17, which I know is, kind of steep, but hey, I'm feeling generous for the Seahawks because I think, hey, Darnold put it together last week and showed he wasn't just a product of O'Connell and Jefferson. But if you guys have any thoughts or opinions on this game, please feel free to comment or leave a like or subscribe. And, so you can see more content like this where I upload, a few videos a week. Usually, my predictions for each week, an analysis of the Thursday night game, and then my thoughts and reactions to the prior weeks of games. But thank you all for watching, and as always, go Pack Go.